Those are the promises. Here are some perils, or what I call unintended consequences, of media saturation, of the media torrent. The first is in the political realm. In the new era, politics must entertain. They really must if they are to keep our attention. Remember, we've been sort of like cigarette smokers who become accustomed to those little bits of nicotine and can't do without them. Consumers of the media torrent have become accustomed to living without boredom, to living with those tiny little deliveries of emotion, of disposable feeling, and of limited liability feelings. And in that era, a political debate that is not dramatic is not going anywhere. Some people worry that people aren't tuning into the political debates enough because of the political debates have competition with things like Survivor. I worry less that people will not tune into the political debates anymore. I worry more that political debates, televised political debates, are now engineered in order to be as exciting and drama-soaked as Survivor. That is, I worry that our politics today is remaking itself in the form of a dramatic television show. But true political discourse is often less exciting than that. And it often requires a lot more investment of knowledge and of time getting to know the issues. And that may not be quite as immediately gratifying as watching to see who gets voted off the island. And it seems as though our political discourse has become pretty much a horse race, pretty much a Survivor kind of game. So I think there's a real cost there. I think there's also a social cost. Now, we cannot say, it's very, very difficult to say what the cost of, to empirically say what the cost of the techno-media, of the media saturation is on social ties, on social networks. However, we can say this, I can tell you this, we are not more connected than we used to be. And the promise, remember, one of the key promises of the media is the promise of constant connection. Those connections are not any deeper than they used to be. And we do know this. A sociologist named McPherson and his colleagues found that Americans, on average, in 2004 had fewer close friends, what they call confidants, in 2004 than they did in 1984, in the era before cell phones and the internet, before mobile devices could keep you constantly connected. Nevertheless, in 2004, there was a very statistically significant, in fact, a statistically quite large difference between the number of close confidants people could actually name in 2004 than in 1984. And I don't have time to go into all the specifics of how that study was done, but it was a very, very carefully done study. And we know that Americans have fewer people that we can trust today than we did a generation ago. So we are not more connected, despite all of the promises of new media. Ease of connectivity does not equal depth of connection. And if you're doing a media fast right now, I hope you're finding that out. So we've got political costs, we've got social costs. I think there are also physical costs. And the physical cost, one physical cost is that as the media torrent, remember, is a torrent of images and sounds, one after another, thousands and thousands, and it's all around us. This torrent of fast-moving images has been accompanied by slow-moving bodies, slower-moving bodies. That is, as images move faster past us, our bodies become slower, our bodies become inert. And a good example of this is a cartoon that Professor Kusuro shared with me, and I love it. It's comparing in the old days with now. I hope you can see this. And here is, frame by frame, listening to music in the old days. This is what it looked like. And now it's a person with headphones staring by themselves in a room at a screen. And watching films in the old days with friends on a couch, today it's a solitary kind of existence. And chatting with friends and reading the newspaper and playing music is now GarageBand essentially. And sometimes I worry that teaching in the old days involved people, real human beings, making fools of themselves perhaps sometimes, but nevertheless being active in front of a group of students. And today, perhaps it looks something like this. That's scary. I'm critiquing myself here at the same time. In any case, because here I am alone in a room facing a screen, but I hope I'm also maybe making a fool of myself with my actions. Not too much of a fool, but I'm at least active. Our bodies are becoming more inert, and the proof of this is that today more than 35% of American adults are now obese. It's mind-boggling how rapid the onset of obesity is in this country. It has nothing to do with genetics, and it has nothing to do with people losing their sort of self-control, and it has everything to do with what we eat and how much our bodies move over the course of a day. And so one key contribution of media is that as we become more stationary in front of our media devices, our bodies become more inert, and our bodies gain weight. And so this is a physical cost. Finally, I think there's a spiritual cost. And there would be different ways to talk about this, a spiritual cost of the new media. But one thing I want to point out is we can think of perhaps a spiritual cost is that of freedom, the loss of freedom. Now you might say for a minute, wait a minute, how can you say that we lose freedom? The internet opens up a world of new possibilities to us. But what are we actually doing? What are we physically doing in this new age of ultimate freedom? And again, I'm going to quote from Todd Gitlin because he puts it so well. He says, "In a society that fancies itself the freest ever, spending time with communications machinery is the main use to which we have put our freedom." In other words, if this increased freedom in the 21st century results in nothing more than doing exactly what everyone else is doing, and this is especially true, I think, with the youth. If you're doing exactly what everyone else is doing physically at a particular moment, how free can you really be? How free are you if we're all doing this or this? Again, I'm not critiquing. I'm not telling you to go around being the text police or something. I am saying there may be a cost. It's clear that if freedom results in more people sitting by themselves in rooms staring at screens, in a dark room staring at a screen, I have a problem with calling that freedom, or the exercise of freedom in any case. So, what can we do about this? I have a couple of suggestions, one of which is to step out of the torrent, even for a day. Some of you are doing that right now, stepping out of the torrent for about 2 or 3 days. Great. But don't just abstain, engage. Guitar, take up the guitar, take up gardening, take up something that will require your hands to be doing something other than this. Dabble with an older form of media. Write a letter, a handwritten letter to a friend. Take up still photography. You don't know what you're missing unless you've tried it. And I really think we have lost some things in our rapid embrace of new media. So I want to encourage you to experiment with older forms of media. Experiment with going without, and doing so will provide some evidence of how saturated your life has become with media. And if you've embraced the media torrent, it's important to at least know what you're missing.